What's up, YouTube? Before I get into the video, I just want to say how much I appreciate all you guys that watch and comment and that share and subscribe on these videos. And I truly do hope that they are a help. And, I go to YouTube a lot when I'm needing, something, some question answered or some direction on something. And so I just want to contribute back. And so I want you guys to know I appreciate all the time you put into watching these videos and taking a look at the channel. So this evening is a video of something a little bit different. I'm usually posting videos of, the work that I do, mechanic work, something to do with a vehicle or an ATV, a lawnmower, something like that. But this is one of my hobbies, and I had a few hours this evening. This is Memorial Day, and we were off from work today, and then I got the shop work kind of situated to where I could take a few minutes for something that I wanted to do. And so I've been working on the little John boat this evening, and I'll do another video and tell you a lot of the history on where I got it, how I got it, stuff like that. I want this to be a short video that just gives you some insight onto what I did, what I chose to do, and what I thought would work good for me. We go camping a lot, and the place we camp most of the time, that particular place has a 1,400 acre lake, and I love to fish. And so we got the John boat, and years ago I had a larger fiberglass boat, and it just seemed like it was always something, and it cost a lot, and it just a big investment for no more than what I used it. So I got rid of the boat. And my dad used to say years ago, son, there's two things you don't ever trade on. That's boats and goats. And I found that to be true, at least from the perspective of any profit you might want to try to find in either of those two things. But so I downgraded this time. I wanted something lightweight, easy to work with, and easy to move around and still accomplish the goal, be able to get two, maybe three people on there fishing, two comfortably, maybe two adults and a child, and this works out really good for that. When I got the boat, it had a trolling motor with it. Before this boat, I did have a small inflatable boat that was okay, but if you have to row a boat on a lake for the purpose of getting to a place to fish, it's just not my thing. And so I traded for this boat, and it came with a trolling motor. It works really well. Trolling motor's, it's great, but you're not gonna, it's really not gonna take you a long ways up the lake. And if you're gonna stay within a mile area, you're probably fine. Take a couple batteries, you're good for the day. But so on this boat today, actually, I went a little ways from the house and bought this Johnson 9.5 horsepower. It's a 1972 model. It had some work done to it before I got it. It needs one or two little things, but it does run great. All the mechanical parts of it's good. As you can see, it definitely needs to be cleaned up, and paint job, that'll be coming later. The boat also needs a paint job. I'm not going to paint anything. I will say this is a work in progress, so as you watch the video, this one and the other one, just be aware it's a work in progress. And so we'll get everything the way we want it, get it on the water, make sure everything works and does what I want it to do. And then once that's done this fall, I'll bring it in and clean it up real good and put a paint job on it. Probably something, I may go with a dark green and a tan stripe or something like that. I don't really want to do camo, but I do want to do like a darker neutral color. At least I think I do. If you guys that fish and use these style boats have some suggestions on what color to go with, then please let me know. But I would rather get some advice on that. I'm thinking, a darker neutral color would be better than the aluminum color you see on it now. But so just a couple of things very quickly. When I got the boat, it was just a bare boat. I've added everything that you see added to it. It's been added, and I want to run that down with you real quick. I have a depth finder, the transducer for the depth finder here, and the wire runs up. The mount for the depth finder is here, and I made an aluminum mount. And sorry for the trash that you see. I haven't had a chance to clean anything up, but I made an aluminum mount and mounted the, where I can mount the depth finder here, transducer, back here at the back. And then the batteries are up there. I'll talk about those in a minute. And from the seat, it's hard to tell in the video, but from the seat, so we can get back this way. So from the seat, the rear seat, you're probably 2 foot diagonally, which is pretty close. I mean, you can lean up there and adjust it or make any changes you want to do. And I had it mounted here and did not like that at all. And I also have a mount. These batteries have covers and or a box they fit in with a cover on top, and I didn't really like that. And I had this mounted on that cover, and so that obviously not going to work this far away. Then I mounted it here. That's not going to work. It's too far from the seat. So this right here works really good, and I'll probably spend most of my time in the back here. I usually go fishing with someone. Usually my brother will go with me, and so we'll have him up here near the trolling motor, and I'll take back here. If I am by myself, or if I have one of the kids with me, they somebody can't run the trolling motor, then I plan on just getting close as I can to where I want to go with that gas engine, and then I'll make my way to the front and use the trolling motor to get us wherever we need to be exactly, and then anchor down. And so anyway, that's the depth finder mount there, and it's mounted in one of the original. You can see on the other side there's a rod holder there, in that same bracket on the opposite side. Those brackets were originally for the oar holders, and I won't be rowing this boat unless something goes tragically wrong with this motor and this motor. So I use them for the depth finder, and then a rod holder over there. That rod holder will spin 360, so if somebody is sitting here in the middle seat, they can use that rod holder there. Then I have surface mount rod holders here, and it's hard to tell in the video, but they are angled when you put that rod in there. And you can see it does lean the rod forward. So for the rear seat, there's a rod holder here, one on the other side of the seat. Both of those angle forward. And then for the front seat, there's one on each side that angle backwards. All right, and then I have flush mount cup holders, one here, one up front. I didn't do one in the middle just because most of the time it's not going to be a third person, but if there is, I have an idea on how I may do that and not actually put a surface mount cup holder in. And I'll go ahead and tell you what that is. I would like to get, I think they actually make I think they call it a caddy, a boat caddy maybe, but it mounts somehow on this rail, hangs inside, and it provides a cup holder and then maybe a rectangular area for whatever. And so I may get 2 of those and put one either this side or this side in the middle, and then one back here. I may actually get 3 and put one up there as well, just for cell phones, and if you have any light tackle or anything that you want really handy, I think that'd be great. But I'm gonna check on those. So again, the old Johnson motor here, and in with the deal buying the engine, when I went to look at it, the guy actually cranked it on this gas tank with the gas in it and this gas hose, had it running, and I just asked him if he could put that in with the deal, and he did. And so we got that as well. Now then, we also have an anchor system that a friend of mine gave me, and not sure how I feel about this. I really thought about just having a rope and an anchor in the boat, just pitch it over the side, let it sink, tighten it up and tie it to something. But the way this system works, I'm sure you guys already know this, but there's a pulley here, pulley down here. So the rope goes over and down, and then that your anchor down here, and then back to the pulley here in the boat. Not pulley, winch here in the boat, hand winch. And the winch has a release on it so that when you want to drop the anchor, there's a knob right here, and you just turn that knob and it releases the rope and the anchor. So we'll see, maybe it works out all right. I like the idea. I really like the idea. And I'm sure it'll be a lot easier, but I just thought about keeping it simple. But I am glad I got this, so no worries. Yeah, I think it'll be great. If you've never came across these, this is the greatest invention for the money I've ever seen in my life. And these are rod holders, as you can tell. One here, one back there. They're very cheap, if they break or wear out, they're cheap. I want to think 25, 30 bucks on Amazon, maybe less than that. I may have seen them for 20 bucks, maybe, for the pair. But they're great to keep rods organized and safe and not flopping around while you're moving. And these worked out really good with the seats. These are swivel seats, and they're fold-up swivel seats. They're very comfortable. I mean, for what I paid for them, there was 100 bucks for the pair for that one and this one. I'm not sure how long they'll last. They are comfortable, much better than sitting on this. So anyway, I mounted them on swivels. They do clear everything here and over there. We're all good on this particular seat. I think I give $100 for the seats, and then maybe like $15 a piece for the swivels, I think. So, but anyway, if you get one of these boats, if you've never had one, and you're planning on staying out there for a while, I promise you, even with cushions, these things are not comfortable. You have no back support, nothing to lean against, just not. It's worth the $100 to do this, to me. So anyway, that is the seats, the rod holders, again, the batteries. I wanted them here. As you can see, they're about middle ways of the boat. And I originally had them in the back when all I had back there was a trolling motor. But now that there's a gas engine and a gas tank and the anchor system and that stuff, I wanted the batteries up here in the middle, for the reason that I don't think it'll be too much, even if somebody's sitting in this front position. But especially if somebody's not here, I'm hoping this will help hold the front of the boat down a little bit, and that way it'll plane out really quick and easy if it's just me back there. So that's the idea here. These are held on. I don't know what they call those things, but it's one of those tension straps where when you pull it through, it bites into itself, and you have to release it by hand to get it released. It just comes around the batteries here, and then I riveted it to the middle seat there with a 1/4-inch rivet and a 1/4-inch fender washer. And everything I've added to the boat, I've either riveted on or welded. I'm not a big fan of bolts. There is a couple bolts back there in the anchor system, but I use lock washers, and they'll be silicone, so they're not going anywhere. But anywhere that like that is all is riveted. There's a lot of vibration on one of these things, and I just don't want to have to deal with bolts loosening up, things like that. So on the seats as well, I told you we did the seats with a swivel. I made these brackets. I just custom made them, and with some angle iron welded it up, made it the way I wanted it. Didn't see, I know there's some really good ideas out there as far as mounting these things. I had the suggestion, there's actually a mount that comes over, and I think it clamps here and on the other side, and you tighten it up, and you can slide the seat side to side and tighten it. But I'm good with the seats in the middle. The boat's not very wide. I'm fine with the seats in the middle. I wanted something that was going to be solid, and so I welded those up and riveted them on. And then the seats mount, the swivels for the seats mount to those brackets. Not really a good way to see. You get a little bit better idea there of the angle iron idea, how we did that. But anyway, that's how the seats are mounted. So up here to the trolling motor. I don't know if that's going to make sense or not. I did a 3/16 plate here in the shape of the front of the nose of the boat, and it's riveted on, and then it's riveted here, and then I think 4 places up here or 5 places up here, and then this bar is welded to that plate, and then it extends out, and that's what the trolling motor mounts to. And I wanted to show you that. I know there's some welding involved here. Not everybody has a welder, but maybe you know somebody that can weld it up for you. If you don't want to weld it, I'm sure it can be bolted together in the same fashion. Welding it is easier and better for me. But I looked at a lot of different V-hull boats and just didn't see a lot of really good front mount ideas with a clamp-on style trolling motor. Now, I saw some guys that extended that front plate on back here with aluminum and braced all this up and everything, and then did one of the, I'm not sure what they call them, but one of the trolling motors that fold out and down. And but I had this type trolling motor, so that's what I did. And it's going to work really good. It's really sturdy. It's every bit as sturdy as the one, you know, as mounting it back there originally. One thing I am going to do is I've got to extend the wires. They're not long enough to get all the way back to the batteries, so I'm going to extend those. I'm going to get some quick connects for the battery connections for the trolling motor and also for the depth finder, and that way I don't have to monkey with hooking and unhooking and bolting things down. I may actually just I'm not exactly sure yet. I may tie these batteries together, and then I don't know if I want to tie them together or if I want to leave them separate, but either way, what I may do is just get the connector like a lawnmower or an ATV takes, where you just have a plug-in for your battery tender, and then get the other side of that plug-in for the depth finder. And then I'm not sure if, I know that wouldn't carry the current for the trolling motor, but maybe they make something similar that that would work out good for that. So if you guys have any ideas on that, please let me know. So a couple other things, and we'll end the video. This particular boat has, I don't know if you can see this, it has a riveted on bracket here. Pretty heavy duty bracket, cast aluminum bracket, riveted on with a hole in it. And this had a D-ring in it. It made a lot of noise, and as you can see, it beats the paint off of it and everything. So I changed it out. It's not gonna be easy to see, but this right here, that right there is one of those chain links that are bendable. Like you can separate them, put them in a hole, and then bend them back together. And then there's just a steel loop right here, and that's big enough for the hook for the winch, and also the snap swivel for the tow line when you launch out or need to tie it to the dock or whatever. And then the final thing I wanted to show you was this. This blows my mind. So, first of all, let me say this. Who builds an aluminum boat that you're going to sell to the public? Everything on the boat is aluminum. It's never going to rot. All it could possibly need is maybe cleaning up once in a while, a coat of paint every once in a while, and maybe some silicone if you have a rivet leak. Other than that, it's a lifelong boat. It's never going to rot. Who builds that boat and then comes back here to the back at what I would think would be one of the areas of the boat that you would want to be strongest, because you add motors or trolling motors, whatever? Who comes, what manufacturer, who sat on a board, who sat on a panel and decided that this was a good place to put plywood? And I know they call it marine plywood. I know it lasts. Please don't, you guys don't get too cross at me here. I understand that they use a good quality plywood. It's coated. It does last. It does work. But plywood is not, it's not going to add a lot of rigid strength over a 4-foot span back here for a 9.5 horsepower motor. Some of these guys on YouTube are running 25 and more, which I know you're not supposed to do that, but the plywood's not going to work there. I mean, even if you could figure out a way to make it not rot, it's still not going to have the strength. And so my question is if you're building the boat and you've got plenty of this stuff right here laying around to build the boat with, why wouldn't you just incorporate it back here and forget about the plywood? So I got into this. Running the trolling motor, I had no issues. I knew when I put a gas engine back here, I would have problems with flex. I didn't want to get into cracking aluminum and a leaky transom. But so what I did was, and give me just a minute to explain. These right here are some scrap steel bar that I had laying around the shop. I actually cut these off of a ladder rack that I put on a truck. And they're about 2 inches wide and 1 inch thick. Well, this area takes basically 1 inch thick, so perfect fit that way. So I put one bar here, one bar here. They have a steel plate, it's 3/16 steel plate, welded to those 2 bars. And then those 2 bars are riveted. You'll forgive my silicone job here, but they're riveted in the top The lower bar is riveted here and here in the handle. The upper bar is riveted here all along the top. And so, I mean, I'm 100% confident that this motor is going to be fine. I can't foresee any issues. I will keep an eye on it. If there is a problem, I'll let you know. I realize it's steel. I know steel rust. I understand that. I'll keep it painted. No reason this shouldn't outlast plywood by a long shot, especially if it's kept painted and sealed up. If you have access to aluminum, that would be great. If you could put this together with aluminum, that would be better. I know that there's a company that actually makes a replaceable transom that's made of aluminum, but it's like $500 or $600. But my question is, why would you build an entire boat out of rot-proof aluminum and then put wood back here? I don't know. I'm sure there's a reason, and somebody's going to comment and tell me the reason. I'm going to feel like an idiot, but I just don't understand. So anyway, that's all braced up, ready to go. Even if you wanted to run a bigger engine, I'm sure you'd be fine here. And then one final thing. I know that I said that was final, but one final thing real quick. So I did a support for the lower unit. And this will come into play when you're towing it down the road. That's just a piece of channel, small piece of channel, like 2-inch channel, that's welded to the trailer frame back here. Comes out, has 2 studs that stick out with rubber. It's actually gas line, I believe, that I slid on there just to keep from, digging into this aluminum. And I've got a bungee cord now. Probably either get a longer bungee that goes all the way around to the other side, or I may get a strap like we used on the battery. And so what I'll do when I'm gonna tow the boat down the road, I'll make sure this is strapped down good and tight so that the motor's not bouncing around and putting any undue stress on this here. So one other thing, if you guys are commenting down there, somebody may watch the video and know this. Here's what the sticker on the boat says. I looked that up and I didn't find a lot of information. I do have a serial plate back here, and I took these numbers, and actually this comes up as a Starcraft. I believe it was Starcraft boat, about an 81 model. And so if you've seen this boat before, it looks a little different than most, I think they call this a semi-V John boat, but it looks a little different than most I've seen. And so if anybody has any information on that, or direct me on where to find out some information on it, that would be appreciated. So that is the video. And oh yeah, I've got to finish wiring up this light, and I've also got to put the blue-green light, I think it's, or maybe red-green, whatever it is, up there at the front. And we'll be ready to take this rascal out and see if it'll catch some fish for us. But so if you have any information on any of those questions or anything I said there, please let me know. Please comment, and remember to like, share, subscribe, and that'll be a great help to me. And we will do a second video on the why and the how that we ended up with this thing. So I appreciate you guys watching. Hopefully you saw something that maybe a help to you. And if you have any suggestions, please let me know. Hope you have a great night. God bless you.